dehumanize someone who is a fucking Nazi, because it is not I who have dehumanized them. They've done that to themselves. When you're a Nazi, you're no longer a fucking human. That's why so many people are terrified of being branded as such. I didn't do that. He did that to himself by wishing death upon all Palestinians. Don't fucking tone police how I deal with Nazis. Get the fuck out of here. As we watch images of children being starved to death, and motherfuckers come in here to say, no, that's actually good. And you're over here being like, you're being awfully rude. You're being dehumanizing to a person who has literally let go of their humanity voluntarily. Shut the fuck up. God, some of you liberals are such fucking morons, dude. This is why you get manipulated by fucking straightforward fascists all the goddamn time. They just like tug at your heartstrings. They literally advocate to cleanse you, and then you still turn around and say, but we have to listen to the diversity of opinion here. Why are you being so ruthless to the fucking Nazi in the process of being a fucking fascist? Who gives a fuck what that person thinks? That person has already volunteered his humanity away. He is openly saying, I'm not human, I'm a fucking monster. And you're over here being like, oh, why don't you be more sympathetic? While he's in the process of fucking advocating for death and destruction. God, some of you are so fucking stupid, dude. Huh, where is the civility? I don't have any interest in civility with anyone who looks at the images of starving babies, starving children, and says, this is actually good. This is actually justifiable. There's no room for civility with a person like that. That is not a person anymore. They have destroyed all notion of personhood at that point. You understand? This isn't me being woke or out of pocket or something. I don't give a shit. Especially in the process of like moderating this fucking community. It's not like I'm saying I'm going to go kill that person. You're upset by my words in retaliation to someone who is advocating for ethnic cleansing. Think about that. So fucking dumb. Yes, dude, I'm going to hurt your fucking feelings if you advocate for a child holocaust. Okay? Your feelings are going to get hurt. It takes $0 to fucking not say that you are in favor of this live stream child holocaust. Okay? It's free. It's free 99. You don't have to do it. You don't have to type it out. You don't have to say it. You don't have to try to like invoke some kind of fucking anger out of me and others in this community. But if you do that, you're volunteering your feelings away. Well, not like you are open to any other thinking other than your own. You are offended easy as a child, bro. Once again, what is the diversity of opinion here? That some children deserve to be starved? Some people deserve to be ethnically cleansed? Is that your diversity of opinion? Go ahead. Don't use vague generalities. Address the exact argument. Because what I'm saying is we are watching children be starved right now. We are watching an entire population of people be genocided in broad daylight. Okay? Not saying that you're wrong, but you're triggered pretty easy. Are you a sea cucumber? Are you that fucking stupid that you only can like see my reaction? Oh man, you got emotional. Yeah, of course. Of course I get angry. Why are you not angry? If you are more concerned with my reaction being emotional to someone who is saying, yeah, some children deserve to be starved, big dog. What are you going to do about it? It's actually good. Then you're a fucking moron. If you can't show any semblance of emotion in a situation like this, what can you show emotion to? Once again, dangerously coming close to this dehumanization territory on your own. Do you notice that? Because it is the most humane thing. It is the most normal thing to feel angry and frustrated. Billions of people see these images and they also feel incredibly frustrated by it. They want a solution to it. They want an end to it. If you look at that and you turn around and go, why are you guys so angry? It's just a couple starving children. Who gives a fuck? Well, then I guess you don't give a shit. But you haven't proven anything beyond the fact that most people that hear you respond this way, and I doubt that you respond this way in real life in broad daylight around other human beings that are within striking distance, you know. But if what draws some kind of response, some kind of negative reaction out of you in this process is my response to someone being so indignant and so fucking immoral in the face of starving children, then you are forfeiting your humanity. Not only are you forfeiting it, you seemingly are flexing it. You're like, oh, no, dude, I'm a sociopath. Like, it's awesome. But perhaps your goal here is to get me so mad that I say something that you can like try to clip and say, look at how unreasonable Hassan is. I think it is you who's unreasonable. I think many people probably also would agree with me here too. There's nothing more unreasonable than seeing starving children and then not having a human response to that. You got anything else to say? They unfollowed. Lol. Nice. They went nonverbal.
Is out with a new argument now that over the last 48 hours, more than 100 people in Gaza have died of malnutrition and starvation. They're saying that the problem is actually the United Nations, because there are, and it has varied how they've said it, there are some 600 or 700 or 800 or 900 trucks that Israel has cleared to enter Gaza that the UN is refusing to deliver. I spoke to people in the humanitarian aid organization world to get a sense of what Israel is talking about here. And the background is this. Well, let's step back even further. We all saw Israel run a global campaign to drive UNRWA basically out of Gaza. UNRWA was the organization that was overseeing aid distribution in Gaza and has been for many decades and was doing it effectively. If you noticed, before Israel took over aid distribution over the last several months, you actually never saw any news reports about aid seekers getting mowed down while they were going to seek aid. You might remember the World Central Kitchen workers who were killed by Israeli drone strikes. You might remember the flour massacre from early on in this conflict. That was late 2023, early 2024. That was an effort by Israel to control aid distribution. It failed miserably as they slaughtered huge numbers of people. And as a result of the flour massacre, aid delivery was turned back over to international humanitarian aid organizations. And we didn't have massacres up until this Israeli-backed and US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation took back over. So that's the background. So on July 20th, the World Food Program, which is run by Cindy McCain, the widow of John McCain, went on a 25-truck aid delivery effort in northern Gaza. Once they got cleared in, mobs of people began surrounding the trucks. These are hungry, starving people trying to kind of just grab the flour off the back of the truck, and the IDF opened fire on them, killing many of them. And so after this disaster, the World Food Program said that it was going to pause aid delivery until the IDF would guarantee that its soldiers would stop firing on people who were seeking aid. So that's why those trucks are still sitting there. Now, the UN said in response to Israel's claim that it's the UN to blame, that they're happy to deliver these trucks. Now, pause for a second and consider that people say that you need about 900 to
The invisible mirror. Thank you for the 100 gifted subs.
1,000 trucks per day to make sure that people are not dying of starvation. And we're talking about 900 trucks total that have been sitting there, since July 21st. So the UN noted that Israel recently forced the evacuation of UN workers from the last remaining civilian area that has not been completely destroyed, which is Deir el-Balah. That's where the UN and other relief agencies have their headquarters. And Israel also repeatedly rejects requests by UN staff to be able to move around Gaza. In order to be able to deliver aid, UN staff have to be able to move. They are currently either stuck in their headquarters or stuck in safe houses that they've moved to after their headquarters has been forcibly evacuated by Israeli military incursions. The short version is this: Israel controls aid distribution, and people are starving to death in droves.
Ay, ay, ay. Here's a update from the Kilmar Abrego Garcia situation. The Trump admin initially wanted to pretend that Mr. Abrego Garcia was an MS-13 leader. Now, fourth federal judge has found that the evidence doesn't show that he's even a member of the gang, and that's after the Trump admin spent months looking for new evidence. From the beginning, this has always been more than the person. It's been about due process, fundamental right. Our government must be the one that follows the laws, and in Mr. Abrego Garcia's case, they did not. That is why this case matters. More updates from Israel, by the way. Was wondering when someone would try to take Netanyahu out. Did not expect it to be an elderly woman with an illness hoping to go out with a blast. Anti-Netanyahu protesters suspected of planning to assassinate the prime minister. An anti-government activist has been suspected of planning to assassinate Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the police announced on Wednesday. The activist, a Tel Aviv resident in her 70s, recently fell ill and told her friends and other activists she intended to take Netanyahu with her, sources familiar with the investigation said. Turns out they're not losing the Deborahs and the Barbaras here in the West. They're also losing some of the Deborahs and the Barbaras in Israel, too. One more update that I wanted to give you on the Israeli Knesset that just voted to annex the West Bank. Here's Andre X.
The Israeli Knesset just voted to annex the West Bank, and there are two things that you need to know about this. One, the vote doesn't actually do anything. It's a non-binding motion, it has no legal power, and the reason they did it is to unite the Israeli right around something that they agree on, because they've been fighting for a very long time over whether to conscript the ultra-Orthodox community into the army. So it makes for nice headlines, but it doesn't actually do anything on the ground. And two, the West Bank is already de facto annexed, and it has been for a very long time. Israel has controlled the West Bank completely for almost 70 years now. And even in Area A, which is supposed to be under Palestinian Authority, Israel practically has all the power. They control the checkpoints, they control the energy, they control the taxes, and whenever they want, they can just invade it with the army, as they often do. So, de facto, we are living in a one apartheid state solution.
Yep. It's been that way, though. Also, here's 1997. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu allegedly used tapes of Clinton's phone sex calls with Monica Lewinsky to pressure the White House into releasing convicted spy Jonathan Pollard. Clinton reportedly told Lewinsky that a foreign embassy had tapped their phone. The story, long buried, resurfaced amid speculation about Israel's role in blackmail operations tied to Epstein. Here is drop site and breaking points is Ryan Grimm breaking it down below.
This is crazy.
The 1990s, Benjamin Netanyahu, Bill Clinton, and Monica Lewinsky. Stick around for this one. So in a scandal that has been largely lost to contemporary memory, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was alleged to have blackmailed then-President Bill
Clinton bombed the Sudanese pharmaceutical factory Al Shifa on the 20th of August 1999 during the height of the Lewinsky scandal, 3 days after his grand jury testimony on August 17th.
Clinton by revealing to him that Israel had collected tapes of phone sex calls between the 42nd president and White House intern Monica Lewinsky. The story is worth revisiting amid allegations that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in a long-running Israeli blackmail operation of his own. So Clinton met with Netanyahu in the Oval Office in February 1997. Subsequently, according to testimony Lewinsky gave to the special counsel's office, Clinton's secretary Betty Curry reached out to Lewinsky to invite her to an Oval Office meeting, telling her Clinton, quote, had something important to tell her, unquote. It would turn out to be their final sexual encounter. But Clinton also used the opportunity to tell her that a, quote, foreign embassy had tapped his phone and recorded their conversation, Lewinsky said. Clinton did not specify which embassy, though the meeting with Lewinsky came the month after his meeting with Netanyahu. The special prosecutor's report was far more concerned with Lewinsky's claim of the sexual encounter that day because it contradicted Clinton's claim that they had had only one encounter that year than they were with the fact that a foreign government was spying on the president and letting him know about it. The prosecutor was also interested in Clinton's response, namely that he proposed cover stories. These are cover stories that the two could employ if they were confronted with the tapes. Clinton suggested the pair say they knew they were under surveillance and the phone sex was a, quote, put on for whoever was listening. That's an awfully flimsy idea, but look, he was guilty. The man did not have much to work with. Now in April, Netanyahu and Clinton met again for a, quote, private visit. On a Saturday then in May 1997, Clinton again had Curry invite Lewinsky to the White House. During that visit, he broke up with her, Lewinsky testified. The next fall, so this is fall of 1998, Clinton hosted Netanyahu and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat for a summit at Wye River, Maryland. Toward the end of the summit, at 7 a.m., after a long night of final negotiations and handshakes, Netanyahu approached Clinton privately to demand the release of convicted Israeli spy Jonathan Pollard, long a cause célèbre of the Israeli far right. That's according to reporting at the time from the New York Times. Now, Netanyahu brought up the sex tapes in the context of the Pollard demand, according to subsequent reporting by Washington Examiner editor Daniel Harper in his book, Clinton, Inc., The Audacious Rebuilding of a Political Machine. He writes, quote, not wanting to directly threaten the powerful American president, a crucial Israeli ally, Clinton was told that the Israeli government had thrown the tapes away, but the very mention of them was enough to constitute a form of blackmail, Halpern reported. The talks almost broke down as CIA chief George Tenet told Clinton he would resign on the spot if Clinton agreed to the terms. So instead, Clinton agreed to, quote, review Pollard's case. He did not release him. Pollard was eventually freed in 2015 under the Obama administration. Now, on the last day of his first term, Trump pardoned Pollard's handler. Back in Israel, Pollard is now an outspoken supporter of extremist National Security Minister Ben-Gvir, Itamar Ben-Gvir.
Jonathan, all Jews have dual loyalty, Pollard, by the way. And I say this because he said this. He literally said, all Jews in America have dual loyalty and actually care about Israel more than they care about America, which is such a psychotic thing to say as like one of the most notorious American Jews that directly was prosecuted for doing espionage at the behest of Israel.
And has called for the full ethnic cleansing of Gaza. I don't know, Emily, what do you think? What did Netanyahu tell Bill Clinton?
I'm so curious.
There's another foreign embassy that this could be?
That sounds anti-Semitic as fuck. I mean, it is. Was Obama blackmailed? No. That's why he was... No. Look, I'm very critical of Barack Obama. Obama was, of course, just like every other fucking American president, 100% in support of Israel. But there were definitely moments. I would say Barack Obama was the last time that the American administrations had actually sidestepped away from letting Israel control whatever our Middle Eastern policy was. Famously, the JCPOA comes to mind, which is precisely the reason why Ben Rhodes, who is Jewish, by the way, and also Tommy Vitor, Dan Pfeiffer, and many of the other Obama era advisors were branded as vicious anti-Semites for playing a role in the Iran denuclearization agreements. That was something that Benjamin Netanyahu did not like. So I suspect if they actually had any sort of blackmail on Barack Obama, they would have deployed it. Okay. So, and that is like marginal, for the record. That was marginal. Oh. Obama didn't fuck around with different women as much. That's his only good quality. Can you explain why Israel is anti-Iranian denuclearization? Israel is anti-Iran. That's it. That's it. They're anti-Iranian sovereignty. They're anti-Iran becoming a nation state. They're anti-Iran normalizing relations with America. They want Iran to be wiped out, or at least be kept in a permanent status of destabilization as a failed state, so that they can continue fucking killing as many people as they want to as they go along with their greater Israel project of ethnic cleansing, wiping out whatever population they want to and repopulating those areas with Jewish people, even though there isn't enough Jewish people to repopulate these areas around the fucking planet. So there is also that problem too. Ever since Smotrich got control over the deputy head of the civil administration last year, the situation has been de jure annexation. De facto annexation was the previous regime, where the military had official control, supposedly separate from the government. Now Smotrich's office in the defense ministry have complete governing power in Area C. In the coming weeks, the government will try to advance huge settlement expansion out of East Jerusalem, severing the West Bank's north and south. Oh yeah, I saw Josh Shapiro shit on Zoran as well. By friend of the show, Gabby Deutsch, if you recall her name. She is the senior national correspondent for the Jewish Insider and has written extensively about yours truly being a dangerous anti-Semite, a dangerous critic of Israel, and a dangerous anti-Semite. Well, she's got another piece about Josh Shapiro. Apparently, Josh Shapiro said, when supporters of yours say things that are blatantly anti-Semitic, you've got to condemn that. First public comments from the PA governor on the New York City mayoral candidate in a new interview with me at the Jewish Insider. Thanks, man. We really needed your feedback on this. This is the other thing that I wanted to read. The fundamental problem with Israel-Palestine is that the Israelis are too scared to take civilian casualties. Israel can be completely secure without the war if they accept casualties. The only way to have no civilian casualties is to eradicate the Palestinians as a people. Israel again and again gets sentimental. The exchange of 1,027 prisoners for one man was an act of abominable cowardice and served only to enable Hamas's future actions. Dude, this guy literally has like made cat ears. Classic fucking dude. I'm sorry. but globe emoji Twitter is just gay Nazis, okay? They are just straightforward gay Nazis. Every single one of them, every single time. This is a guy who is also is a rage poster. He literally defended bestiality on the timeline, said it's not that big of a deal. But it is so funny that all of the Ukrainian Twitter flag, Ukrainian flag in the Twitter bio, globe emoji Twitter bio guys are just such fucking out and about neo-Nazis. It's crazy to me. Like, is there no shame at all? Of course, it is the U.S. which is sentimental now. We are quite taken by the plight of the hostages. We must bring them back. I don't think Israel has much interest in a few hostages now, though. As long as they remain, Gaza can be destroyed. I think Israel may finally be engaged in a genocide if they're indeed starving them out. This is also the only path Israel has to having no civilian casualties. This is why it is a mad goal, and they must give it up. And obviously, like, even when he's arriving at the right conclusions, one, it takes so long, and two, he takes the worst possible fucking way. And obviously, one must understand that the core of the Palestinian cause has not one principle besides victory. Now that they are behind, they cry out for mercy. They would not give it to themselves if they had won. You don't know that. And also, victory for the Palestinians is emancipation. Victory for the Palestinians is sovereignty, something that Israeli society gets to enjoy, while also simultaneously not just doing sovereignty, but also dominance to others, the indigenous population of the Palestinians. Holy fuck. Still, if Nazism could be beat out of a people, perhaps Palestinian irredentism, Palestinians wanting to get rid of the occupation that has killed them and their families and destroyed their homes, that is currently doing a genocide, that has always operated an apartheid structure, is actually irredentism. This dude is just NATO Himmler. I know, so many globe accounts. So many fucking globe emoji pro NATO accounts on the timeline are just straight up gay Hitler, okay? That's it. They're just gay Adolf Hitler. Yeah. It's additionally funny that he says, like, this is irredentism. Is Ukraine engaging in irredentism, which must have been stopped by Russians? Is that what it is? Irredentism is what Russia is doing to Ukraine, chatters, ironically enough. If you want to understand what it is. Genocide is what Israel is doing to Gaza. Irredentism is what Russia is doing to Ukraine. Okay? Straight up. So to sum it up, Israel bad, Palestine bad. Ugh. Putting this to make it clear, the civilian casualties are Israeli casualties. I need to make this extremely clear. There are Israeli casualties I am referring to, not Palestinian casualties. I feel like I'm going insane. Y'all are misinterpreting the words. What are you talking about? He's literally saying Israel has to do a genocide because Palestinians are fucking monstrous pieces of shit that are engaging in irredentist acts of violence against Israel. And Israel has no other way of beating the Nazi out of the Palestinian. What is hard to contend? What is hard to understand about his words here? He is literally saying Palestinians are Nazis. They have like Nazi elements. And they want to take over Israeli society as a whole, and they would be far more ruthless. Say that? Did I say that? Ghost, how you say by Israel and not Jews? Yes. Because there are plenty of Jews who are not on board with what Israel is doing, and I'm not going to let that fucking go, no matter how hard Israel tries to make it seem like all Jews are on board with this. Okay? It's not out of fear that I'm worried that someone is going to declare me anti-Semitic. Many of my critics have already done that. Okay? Many of my critics have done that already. I will never concede to the Israeli framing on this issue. I will never concede to the Zionist framing on this issue that Israel is for the Jews, by the Jews, and doing everything for Judaism. That's it. It's not because of some fucking fear that I'm going to be called an anti-Semite. Trust me. People do that every single day. They call me an anti-Semitic, Muslim fundamentalist, Islamist terrorist all day, every day, up and down.
The UN are telling us there is no security for those trucks. Israel is not guaranteeing that desperate Palestinians will not be killed. That is what they are saying. Now, your military is occupying Gaza. It is your obligation to get food and medical supplies to the population. That is your obligation under international law. Otherwise, you are using hunger as a weapon of war.
Yeah, okay, Mark. So the truth matters here. This is where it is. There is no famine in Gaza. There is a famine of the truth, and Israel will not stop telling it. 87 million meals, 1.8 million tons of aid, which we facilitated, aid
Right.
getting in. Hamas loots, it starves its own people, and the world looks away. We open new routes to
Right.
deliver food and medicine. Hamas blocks them and fires from them, and then cries to an all too willing Sky News, all too willing, to the cameras when civilians are hurt.
Right.
They
Why
fire
don't
at us
you
from civilian
provide
areas.
security then? Why don't you provide security then for the UN to get those supplies into Gaza? You can't say, here's the point, you can't say on the one hand that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is now distributing the aid in Gaza, and then when it's a disaster with up to 1,000 people shot dead, you start
Dead by
blaming
who,
the UN.
Mark?
You start
Dead by
blaming the
who?
UN for
Shot
causing
dead by
hunger.
who?
I mean, it's
Shot dead
simply
by
nonsense.
Hamas. The media shows pictures of hungry people, but won't say the words that matter. Hamas stole their food. Hamas caused their suffering. Hamas turned charity into a billion-dollar racket, just like
To what end? To what end? What are they going to do with the legal tender? What can they do? Ironically enough, there is a group that is actually stealing aid, the collaborators, who can make use of the shekels. But those guys, although they are of Palestinian descent, are ISIS affiliates that work alongside the Israeli occupying force. What the fuck can Hamas do with the dollars at this point? Let's say that they are stealing 85 million tons of food, and then they're redistributing that food to the Palestinian population, and they're getting money in return. There's a massive, massive inflation crisis in Gaza, which is so crazy to think that there is even like some kind of commerce taking place inside of the Gaza Strip, but it's true. I know many people who still are living inside of the Gaza Strip, many people who are surviving this genocide, who talk about their day-to-day experiences, where they will show, they'll show like a can of fucking beans and one pita, and how much it costs to purchase these things, and it's like $300. What could Hamas do with that, with the money that they're getting? What could Hamas do with the money that they're getting? What can they purchase? Can they purchase weapons? Can they purchase munitions? What could they be buying with the food that they're selling? Are they buying more food? Is that what they're doing? It makes no sense. It's just pure racist nonsense. That's it.
mafia. They steal the aid, they sell it on the black market, and they're hoarding it for their own terrorist fighters, recruiting killers with that money. So when we have disrupted that pipeline of theft, Hamas saw Israel as a threat to their business model, not their people's salvation. So we've attacked the terrorists.
It's crazy. Everything is racist to you. They're all going to die anyway. Hamas will be no more. Drugs, everything is racist to you. Dog, you just said that Hamas is hoarding the aid so they can steal it, hoard it, and then sell it back to the Palestinian population so they can purchase drugs. While also simultaneously saying they are all going to die anyway. Hamas will be no more. What do I call you? Everything is racist to you. Brother, I'm going to be honest with you. Fuck Palestine and Israel. Yeah, okay, dude. Well, once again, I'm choosing to look at the bright side of this, which is that even the most monstrous scumbags like this at least are too pussy to say, fuck Palestine, Israel is winning. You know? They still, even the biggest fucking Nazi piece of shit like this guy, who in Asmongold's chat is talking about how he wants a sugar mommy. Same as immigrants, drugs, brainwash snowflakes. It's a game to them. Leave weed out of this. IQ test the vote. Even guys like this have to still say fuck Israel too, actually. Fuck Palestine, but also fuck Israel. Israel's even lost this fucking dude. This person is not even a human, okay? They are barely sentient. And even a barely sentient moron still has to literally couch their bloodlust for all Arabs and all Palestinians and all Muslims with, I also hate Israel, to be honest. Like, Israel fucking still sucks, you know what I mean? Lol, I agree. Yes, you're so fucking stupid that I just said you're barely sentient and you agreed with me. That's how fucking stupid you are. Get back to Asmongold's chat. Don't come in here. See, that's the point. A year ago, that guy would not have to say fuck Israel. Okay? That's my point. The attitude and the discourse surrounding this has changed so dramatically. That even the dumbest, most racist guy who fantasizes about the ethnic cleansing of all Palestinians still has to be like, but I hate Israel too, dog. Like, I promise.
While Hamas put civilians in harm's way.
Right,
And when
but who
those
are you?
civilians
Who
are
is
harmed-
being shot dead?
when those
Who is being
civilians
shot
are
dead?
harmed- when those
Who is being
civilians are
shot
harmed,
dead when
the
people
world
go to
points
get the food?
Points the finger at Israel.
Oh God, Hassan, they may be a monster, but you are dipping into the dehumanizing sphere. Yes. Yes, I will